So we're going to go ahead and we're going to replace the inside mechanism for the power windows. Now on this one, I know that it's damaged. I know that it's broke. And earlier I had to get inside here and bring this window up and put a screw actually inside there in the frame in order to keep this up so nobody would break in during the time that we're waiting for the new part to come in, and also to prevent it from getting rained on. So let's go ahead and take this piece off, this interior door side. Okay, we're going to remove this, and most of the time you're going to find that it's just put on with clips around the door, and there's going to be a couple of screws here and there. Now one of them is going to be right here, and I'm going to be using a star drive to get this guy out of here. So there's one of them, and up here there is another one that is in the rear that is actually a screw. What we're going to do is from here, everything else should be put in with a clips. But what we're going to do is we're going to kind of reach around and pry up on this to remove the clips. Okay. Okay. That all feels pretty good. I just turned that to set that in there. Okay. I'm going to try to lift this thing up. And there we go. Okay. So now we've got some wires that we're going to have to disconnect. And these have quick connects that we can just kind of pull up on in order to get these guys loose. Let me get a small screwdriver that will help me with this. You're going to see that this guy right here will pop out, okay? Because we need to disconnect those wires from the rear of this. And then now this is removed, but we can pull these wires through that hole, and now we can get rid of this panel, and it won't be in our way. Now we're going to remove the speakers. Okay. Doing pretty good. We're going to end up removing the airbag. Just keep in mind that when you end up doing this, it's going to end up sending a code to the computer that the airbag is bad, even after you end up hooking it back up again. So you need to get a device, a little computer. You punch it in, and it erases the code, and it resets it. Okay, and then those are cheap. And then I've got one of those. So now we have to remove the airbag. This is a 10mm socket. Okay. So now the airbag is gone. Pretty much now we just have this foam, and they've kind of put it on with tar, like a caulking that's like a tar. You can just kind of pull this off. Okay, grab this, push it through. Same with that. We're going to end up using a ratchet to remove this side plus this side over here. And you're going to see the same thing up here on top. Okay, but then we've got two clamps that are on the windows. The window, I should say. We got two clamps. They're right here. And you see there's a little bit of an opening where we have access to that. Okay, and then so we're gonna go ahead and get to those guys. There's one right there, and then there's one right there. Okay, so we have access to that. So I'm going to move this camera back once again so I have access to this and the camera's not in the way, but you can still see the process of what I'm doing. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and release the bolts down here. Now I'm going to undo the pieces that are holding in the glass. These are the clamps that hold the glass in. So that way the glass is basically not being held in by anything. So if I wanted to pull the glass out, I could. Okay. Right here is one of the bolts that holds in one of the pulleys, one of the little wheels. We're going to release the power to the motor there. And we're going to get this piece of crap out of here. Okay. When taking this out, make sure that the rubber pieces that go to the clamps here, you still have access to them. So here's my replacement. Got this from a junkyard. And this came out of a 540, and this is right here is a 525i. But I want to make sure that this stuff is the same. It looks like it's going to be identical, and I wanted to make sure that I used an actual part that was from BMW, and not like a replacement. Just because a lot of times these replacements, they're just pieces of crap. They just don't last, you know. And you know, junkyard parts, a lot of times you get them cheap and you're dealing with an original part, you know. Nothing wrong with it. Somebody just got into a car accident or something and, well, had to scrap it. Try to take what you can from it. So, anyway, we got all this stuff together and it's starting to sprinkle, of course. So, all the stuff, I'm looking at this, making sure that everything is here, and if I need to use parts from the other one, I can. Hooking the power back up, sliding that clamp on. Bringing that over. Okay. And some of this is going to be a pain in the ass, okay? Because it's kind of hard to see up inside there to see if the screw holes are lined up, but I don't really want this thing to travel on me, so I'm going to put these bolts in here on the bottom, but I'm just not going to tighten them all the way. I'm just putting these in here so they don't shift a little bit and have this thing keep falling down on me. Okay, so now I'm going to have to get a little flashlight and kind of move this thing back and forth, so that way I can actually see when the screw hole lines up, and then I can put my piece back in here when I put it back in. It's like playing that old game of Operation, remember? Remember Operation? You gotta be able to get it inside that hole without touching the sides and everything. It's kind of like that. Okay, once again, I'm just making it snug. I'm not going crazy with it. And that is perfectly lined up as well. That's beautiful. And then now I can even tighten this clamp up. She ain't gonna go anywhere. And finally, these last two on the bottom here. So we're back in business. So now what I'm going to do is I actually want to lower this so I have better access to these clamps right here. So I'm going to temporarily hook this back up so I can lower it and all that other good stuff. And then I'll turn the key on just so I can control the window. Also, I need to make sure that the thing works. Now, they said that they tested it and they said that it worked, but I need to make sure here before I go too much further. That's kind of what I'm looking for here. This is very tight, and I want these to be behind the guideposts. Like that. And this one I need to lower. Bring this in. Make sure it's behind the guidepost. Raise it up. Raise it up. There we go. See, now I have good access to these guys right here. Okay. Turn this off. And now it all seems to be good. Make sure everything is lined up. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grip my glass. I'm going to clean it up real nice. Might as well, right? Since it's out. And then I'm going to put it back in. And it looks like it's going to rain in about 20 minutes, so I got to haul ass. Okay, so cleaned up the glass a little bit. And outside of it's got something on there I really need to take some clay to. But you'll see that on these window holders, these clamps, they've got little plastic pieces here on the side. And these little plastic pieces kind of help put it in exactly where it needs to be before you kind of clamp it down. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to try to get this window lined up as best as we can. But first, we're going to end up putting our little rubber pieces back on to protect the glass. So at this point, I'm going to raise the window up. So I'm going to put the keys back in. Okay, I need to make sure that this thing is actually going exactly where it needs to be. And it's not. So I'm going to have to lower this. So that's its lowest setting. There we go. See, it was getting behind. It was getting behind the weather stripping. Okay, that's all the way up. It's nice and tight. It's pretty much where I want it. Okay, and so now I'm going to try to tighten that if possible where it's at, okay? Which is not going to be easy. Putting pressure on this, I'm going to lower it just a little bit so I have access to right here so I can tighten this. good. That's good. That's good. This little plastic piece over here on the side, I'm going to loosen this and raise it up a little bit. Looks right to me. So I'm going to go ahead, start reversing the process of putting this guy back together. I'm going to, of course, turn the keys off. Because I had disconnected the airbag, that light is going to stay on, so I need to turn the light off, and I'm going to end up using a reset tool that you can get real cheap, like 10 bucks on eBay or whatever. You just plug it into the OBD2 port and basically just follow the instructions. And now we're going to put our wires back up in here where they belong. Bring this over, pop this in, then that's that, and then this guy right here goes up to this spot. Which goes right there. All the wires should be hooked back up. And battery died. Switching cameras. Last thing, it's basically just this little cap that goes over this piece right here to cover that. There we go. That's that. So everything's put back together. The light for the airbag has been taken, basically repaired. I should say I've reset it so it's no longer flashing, saying that there's a problem with the airbag. The windows work just fine now. We're good as gold. So anyway, guys, that's how you go about doing it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. And I'm going to have more like this, unfortunately, because I have a bunch of fucking car problems. So until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.